All right, we're going. All right, welcome to Math 10, Gump 10. Yesterday, or sorry, Wednesday, or 2 days ago, Tuesday, we gave you some practice questions on fractions, 1, 2, 3, 4. A number of you already handed them in, and I want to say thank you. And the rest of you who haven't handed them in, make sure you do. Today, we're going to pick up on just reviewing some of the things that we use with fractions. So we're going to look at what our lesson for today is, and it's converting decimals to fractions. This is what we need to solve, need to know when we do proportional statements. So just to review, when we want to change a decimal 0.3 to a fraction, look at the number of places after the decimal. Right here, we have one place after the decimal. That means it's over 10. So when I write that as a fraction, I take the number 3 and I put it over 10. So I've changed it from a decimal to a fraction. Here, 0.03. I have two places. So that means now it's over 100. So that'd be 3 over 100. If I have a number like 2.5, it means I have a whole number, 2, and a fraction, 0.5. Well, the whole number says the same. The 5, everything means it's going to be over 10. So now it's not just 5 over 10, it's going to be 25 over 10. So we write that as 25 over 10. And as we said there the other day, when we have a fraction, always check to see if it's simple yet. Can we reduce it? So we look here, we have a 5 and a 0. Try 5. Any number that ends in 5, see if you can divide both numbers by 5. So if I divide this by 5, put in your calculator, divide this by 5, you have to do the same to the top and the bottom. So 25 divided by 5 is going to be 5, and 10 divided by 5 is going to be 2. Now we have the simplest fraction. So 2.5 is 5 over 2. And if we have a bigger number, 6.5, apologize, it's out of black here. Remember, two places, 4 and a 5, it means it's going to be over 100. So we take the whole number, 645, and put over 100. We still can reduce that. So I'm looking at 5 again here. There's a 5 and a 0. So I'm going to divide both of them by 5. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do it to the other. So when we reduce that, divide that by 5, I get 129. And when I divide 100 by 5, I get 20. So my fraction is 129 over 20. Okay, so now we're going to look at the solve proportional statement. And proportional statements generally means that they are equivalent. Whenever you see them, there will be an equal sign. Okay, equal signs mean one side is equal to the other. So we're going to look at how to solve it, because sometimes we'll have problems involving proportions or ratios, and we need to know how to solve them when they have this equality. So our learning target today is involving proportions. We're going to use cross products or cross multiplying to find the missing term. And later we'll look at problems. Today will just be figures, and tomorrow we'll look at word problems. Or sorry, Monday. By the way, tomorrow I'm going to give you just a short quiz on fractions, just what we did the other day. So we're going to be looking at solving an unknown value in a proportional statement. It's a lot of words, kind of complicated, but what it means is that we're just going to take a situation where we have an equality sign, and we have another one over here, say, with an unknown, and we have to solve for this. That's the proportional statement. So proportions means that they're fractionals of equality between two ratios. This is a ratio, and this is another ratio, and they're equal. Here's an example. We have an unknown, x over 5. So x is ratioed with 5 equals 3 over 10. So how do we solve it? We use the cross multiplication. I take my x and I cross multiply it with 10. So x times 10 or 10 times x. Remember, if you don't have a number in front of the x, it's assumed to be 1, right? So that means 10 times 1 is 10x equals, now we look at the other one, make the little butterfly. 5 times 3, 15, right? Now, we just want to solve for x, so we got to get rid of this 10. In order to get rid of it, I have to divide by 10. If I do 10 here, I have to divide over here. Whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. 10 divided by 10, 10 divided by 10, it's going to equal to 1. So that means we can cancel out. And then we take 15 equals 10. So now we have x equal to 15 over 10. But we can reduce that because they have 5 there. So I can divide this by 5. I can divide this by 5. So 15 divided by 5 is 3. And 10 divided by 5 is 2. So x will equal 3 over 2. X will equal 3 over 2. If it's 4/5 equals x, we do the same thing. We start with the x's, 5 and x. 5 and x. Now, it doesn't matter if you put it the left side or the right. I like to put the x's over here, but you can do whatever you want. But just make sure you multiply it out. 5 times x is 5x, and 4 times 6 is 24. Now, to get rid of this, I have to divide by 5 to get rid of that 5. If I do that here, I have to do it over here. My 5's cancel out. 24 divided by 5. And if I can't reduce it any further as a fraction, I can put it in my calculator. And if I take 24 divided by 5, punch in this way in the calculator, 24 divided by 5, I'll get this as an answer, 4.8. And that's your answer for x. So that's how you solve a proportional statement. So I'm going to give you questions. Some of you may have converted number 5, but on the sheet I gave you the other day, it was 1, 2, 3, 4. There's another question on that sheet on the converting fractions. It is number 5. So you're going to complete that. And then an additional sheet I'm going to give to you called Practice Your Skills. I believe it's a number 2. You're going to do all the questions on that. And that'll be your assignment for tomorrow. But remember, we're going to give you a fractions quiz. Like simplifying fractions and changing them from fractions to decimals. Okay. So this is what your sheet should look like. Your number 5. That's on the fraction sheet I gave you last day. So you have these questions to solve, all of these questions, and then your proportional statements number 2, you'll have these. All right, thank you. We'll see you tomorrow.